Yes,
you biked
Mm-hmm.
like a bicycle, not a motorcycle, from where to where?
St. Augustine, Florida to Los Angeles, California.
All right. So,
Jesus.
guiding questions.
Sure.
How did you get to the point where you were going to do this? Step one. How did you even come to the idea that this was going to happen for you?
So, I've been very consistent with the gym my whole life, right? Since I was young, I played sports. I played tennis for 9 years of my life to be a professional tennis player. I was like trained to be a warrior on the tennis court, right? So I had the physical discipline instilled in me since I was very young. I've also always had an affinity for experiences that helped me grow as a person, right? I was not experienced riding the bicycle. Actually, you know what? That's a lie. I spent my whole youth riding a bicycle, honestly. But did I race? I actually did race, yeah. But I never rode it more than like 30 miles. So I was in college, and a buddy of mine, he wasn't even really my friend. We were just acquaintances. We were studying for the same final exam, microeconomics. Sucked. Online. Did not like the class at all. And so Felipe is his name. He's like, yeah, man, I'm just preparing for this trip. And, you know, I'm curious. So I was like, oh, interesting. What trip? He's like, oh, dude, I'm riding my bicycle from Florida to California with some friends. I'm biking across the U.S., you know. I'm just looking for some other people to do it with me. And instantly, I was just in the time in my life where I wanted an experience like this that I knew would change me as
How
a
old were
person.
you?
I think I was 17.
Oh my god.
Damn.
Or I was, yeah, 17 or 18.
Wow.
Yeah,
My parents would have talked me out of it.
really.
Yeah, probably.
My grandpa actually didn't think I could do it. He said, you know,
Everyone I've told about the AT has said the same thing.
Really?
Yeah. But anyway, continue.
It's so funny.
It's weird.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
So instantly I was like, dude, I'm going. Count me in. And he's like, no, you're not, man. I was like, dude, I'm in. And it just made sense for me. Like, I know how to ride a bicycle. All I'm going to do is ride a bicycle for 80, 120 miles a day. Like, I don't care. You know, let's do it. Like, this, it seems ridiculous, but that's why I want to do it in the first place, because it seems so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so at first it was kind of a joke, you know, in the joke, like a joke in the sense that, like, were we actually really all serious about this, you know, about biking across the United States? And Felipe was, and, you know, it was fun to entertain, but we were all pretty serious at the core. And so the seriousness continued, and we found two other people, Glenn and Nick Alvarez.
Brothers?
No, they're friends. Everybody friends.
Interesting.
I didn't actually meet Glenn.
They were both Glenn and Nick Alvarez? Their last name was
Oh,
Alvarez?
no, Glenn Von Farts.
Oh. Okay,
Von
sorry.
It's Von
Farts.
Hartz, but I always
Oh.
say Von Farts.
Okay.
And Nick Alvarez.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
I didn't meet Glenn until like 2 days before we left on the trip, actually. Yeah.
Damn.
We went on like really super random, and considering I was going to be with him for 41 days. So that's how I found out about the trip.
Okay.
Um,
And then preparations, and then, yeah. How'd you prepare, and then what was it like when you set off?
Yeah, so I've always had really big legs because I played tennis my whole life. And, like, my parents used to, like, they used to not force me, but I used to run on the treadmill with, like, weights on my feet. And then I'd get off and I couldn't walk, and then they'd make me jump rope, and then they'd make me get back on the treadmill. I was, like, trained like this, like, to be a fucking athlete my whole life, you know? So the physical stuff wasn't hard for me. We just biked, like, 30 miles. I started biking a good amount, like 10 to 12 miles every day. And this was in Florida, where the elevation is practically zero.
Yep.
Because I'm on the water. And my oxygen levels are as best as they can be because I'm not elevated at all. And there are no hills. There's one bridge that I would cross once in a while, and I would cross it, and I got pretty good at crossing it. That's as much as we trained. So fast forward to the day of the trip, which was July 4th. We left from...
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we left.
Speak of Independence Day.
Yeah, right?
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, we drove from Miami to St. Augustine. We slept there the night. We packed our bags, and then we set trail.
So did you have backpacks, or did you have bike packs?
I gotta show you guys the video. You guys gotta watch the video. We have a video. I had a Camelback on my back for water and Gatorade. Then we had a bike with 2 bags on the side.
Yeah.
And that's
Mhm.
how we carried all our stuff. Yeah. I had like 80 pounds on me.
80 pounds.
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn.
So what was in there? What the hell?
Like a tent.
A lot,
Did you
man.
camp out?
Tent. I had a tent. We started with way too many things. I had a tent. We had a grill. We bought a grill.
You mean like one of those little stoves, or are you talking about like a fucking grill, like a George Foreman?
No. It was
the
like
components of a grill
the
divided
components of a
amongst
grill.
4
Yeah.
people.
Wow.
Yeah. What else? Clothes for 41 days.
How many pairs?
I had 4 of the same white like biking shirts and 3 of the same shorts, and then I had a pair of shoes, yellow Nikes, Did I have a pair of jeans? No pair of jeans, just shorts.
Did you have like the clip-in biking shoes?
Yeah, I did.
That's like necessary if you're going for like endurance.
Yeah.
Damn.
My buddy Glenn actually didn't have the clip-ins, and he had like an old bike.
Did he make it all the way to the end with the same
Yeah.
bike?
Yeah, it
Wow.
collapsed.
That doesn't surprise
It
me.
broke, and he fixed it. I think twice.
Wow.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Resourceful.
Yeah, he didn't
Crazy
fix it. He took it
motherfucker.
to a shop, but
Oh Jesus.
that happened a lot. A lot of flat tires.
That makes sense to me.
Fuck ton of flat tires. It was really interesting because the way the dynamic played out is, like, we were in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and we got to Baton Rouge. This is the night we slept at the Walmart, and it was horrible
You
experience.
Tented out in the Walmart parking lot?
Yeah, in the Walmart parking lot. So we biked all day the night before. I think we biked like 80 miles, which was pretty standard for us. And we didn't, we just took longer than we expected because we were hungry, we were tired. So we got to Baton Rouge approximately like midnight. So everything was closed because we're not in Miami. We're in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Everything closed at 8. So we couldn't really find a place to stay. And we didn't really want to stay at a motel. So because we had some really bad experiences with motels. I can tell you that story after if you want. So we ended up going inside the Walmart and getting some food because we were starving. And so we considered sleeping inside of the Walmart, but I don't think they would have allowed us to do that. So we just said, okay, let's just go outside to the parking lot. We'll tie our bikes. We'll lock our bikes to where people put their carts in. And then we'll set up our tents right next to it. And, nobody's going to come and steal our bikes. We're right there. At least that's what we thought, right? It worked out. We didn't get we didn't get our bikes stolen, thankfully. But what did happen is, as you may know, the asphalt absorbs the sun all day, right? Black asphalt. So
Yeah. I see where this is going.
you saw where this is going. I woke up approximately 2 a.m, dripped in sweat like I just jumped in a pool and jumped out of the pool. And in the midst of me being like, I essentially overheated in my sleep to the point where I had to wake up, right? When I did wake up, there were a group of, I guess this is like a car gang that gets together whatever night of the month that have like the suspension in their cars. And so I woke up at 2 a.m. to like a subwoofer rattling, like the car, like like old Fords that they drive with like the huge spinners and it like bounce. There was a show going on right next to us at 2 a.m. while I was sleeping.
Did your tent melt?
Did my tent melt? No.
Okay, that's what I was thinking
I
from
was
the
thinking
asphalt.
that too. I
Yeah.
was thinking that too.
No, thankfully no.
Yeah,
it
lucked
was
out.
hot though. I wouldn't doubt that asphalt was approximately like 80 to 85 degrees.
Do you
to
remember
be
what month
honest.
you left and what time of year it was when you were in Baton Rouge?
It's still July probably.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this started in July. So this is like a summer thing.
Yeah, July 4th to August.
Oh fuck, that's right. That's what you said, July 4th.
Yeah, August like 20.
So it might have been Silver July.
Yeah, mid-July. Very hot.
All right, so
When
yeah.
something like that happens, and you're on this journey, like, are you just like, fuck it, we're gonna sleep here another day, or like,
What do you mean?
What was the game plan once you realized like it's 2 a.m. like?
I can't sleep. It's too hot. These guys
Yeah.
are freaking bouncing their cars next to us.
Yeah.
Thankfully, man, I had just biked 80 miles, and I could get back to sleep because I was freaking tired.
Damn.
You know.
Wow.
but the beautiful thing is that I learned what a strong team does, you know? None of us gave up because there were 3 other people that were going to continue. So there's almost this peer pressure that was created, a positive peer pressure that was created amongst us, where, you know, nobody really wanted to give up because, like I said, everybody else was going to continue. So, like, having to be that person was... it was a big confrontation to your identity. And I think this was a big identity trip for all of us, right? It was really a time to define who we were, what we were made of. That's kind of why we embarked on the journey in the first place. So to answer your question, we had no other option, you know? We had no other option. Just get... Because I think I was the only person that got up. I was freaking drained in sweat, but I guess everybody else was too tired to fall asleep or too tired to get up, you know? So I ended up sleeping like 4 hours that day. And thankfully, the next day, things worked out because my buddy's tire popped. And we stayed back in Baton Rouge. And so the way it worked is if me and Nick or me and Glenn or me and Felipe, if something happened to one of us, we would split. And 2 of us would stay back and figure out how we would get to the destination of the day, and the other 2 would continue. So, like, during the whole trip, somebody made the flight from A to B at all times. When we were in Baton Rouge, one of my buddy's tires, my tire actually popped. It was my tire that popped, yeah. And we had to hitchhike our way to a bike shop. And we got there really early. We got to the bike shop at like 8 in the morning, and we were just in a random ass bike shop in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, outside where like we were in the wrong neighborhood for sure. I mean, we stood out so much. We were 2 white guys with big bikes and probably smelled like shit, you know? And the people around us were predominantly black also. And yeah, we get into this bike shop and we're there like the whole day. Because the guy who runs the shop is like this, you know, middle-aged man with like really dirty fingernails and just takes his time, you know, just cool, man, you know, like, I'll get to your bike when I can, man, just relax, you know, I'm busy type of guy. So we were there all freaking day, and we were wondering how we're going to get to our destination. And thankfully he had a friend named Sid, and Sid was this really comical, like, kind of short, bald guy with glasses. His like frames were crooked, and he ended up taking us. We paid him like $20 for gas, and he ended up taking us. And we went back to his place, and my buddy smoked with him, just super funny. Smoked his bong. I didn't smoke, and he took us. And so this is actually leads to the most miserable place we stayed at the whole trip was this place in, I think I'm trying to think of the name of it. The Sportsman Inn is what it was called. Freaking horrible. So we got there, wherever town we were in, there were like only 2 or 3 hotels, and this is the one we found that had availability that night. So we got there. Sid drops us off. We don't know where the entrance is. So we go into what looks like to be a convenience store. And as I walk into the convenience store, I ask the gentleman, "Hey, sir, do you know where the hotel reception is?" And he said, "Yeah, it's right here." And it was an Indian guy. And I was like, "Okay, cool. Do you have any availability for it?" And he's like, yeah, of course. How many people you need?" So I said, "Well, we always did this. There's always 2 of us, you know, 2 of us in 2 beds, and we just slept 2 on each bed, so we don't have to pay as much." And so he gives me the keys. I go with my buddy Glenn, and I go to the room. And this hotel just looked really beat up from the outside, like an old yellow that was just peeling. I mean, just typical. I mean, I wouldn't say the guy was dirty, but he looked pretty dirty from what I interacted with him, you know? It's like, I don't think he bathed at all, you know? Didn't like I could just tell by what his store looked like, right?
Yeah.
Like, was this place clean? It didn't really look clean. It didn't really look like he cared about his store. So I figured his rooms couldn't be any better. So I walk into the room. First of all, the AC is broken. It's fucking like 100 degrees. And then I see flies fly around, zzz, like if there was a dead body somewhere on the ground. And we're just, I look back again and I'm like, dude, there's no way we're staying here. Like, this is ridiculous, man. And then I look at one of the beds and he's like, dude, there's not even covers on this bed. Look at this. So we walk over to the bed. I grab the cover and I take the cover off and there's just a bunch of blood, dried blood on the mattress. And then I put the cover back and I look at Glenn and I'm like, dude, we cannot stay here, man. We cannot stay here.
What do you do?
So what do, right? I go back to the Indian guy and I'm like, hey, man, listen. That room you gave me is completely unacceptable. You know, I'm sorry. We just can't stay there. I mean, I convinced him it was because of the AC and not because there were flies and something happened in there. I don't know what the fuck happened in there, but something happened in there.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah. So we got another room. And we got in the room and there were like cockroaches in the bathroom. Disgusting. And like the tub itself was like black. You could just tell nobody had washed it in years. And then there were bars of soap, and the bars of soap, it literally looked like somebody walked in, right, sit at the door, and then just threw them. And like they just laid there because they didn't even want to walk into the bathroom. That's kind of what it looked like. Horrible. Ooh. So
this is all Louisiana.
This is in Louisiana.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oy.
Gross. So we thankfully outside there was a huge recycling dumpster with a bunch of cardboard. So we actually mapped out like an entrance. It was like the runway of the room. It was just cardboard along the whole room just so we didn't step on the floor because we were so grossed out by it. We put the cardboard in the bathtub so we didn't have to put our feet in because we didn't carry any flip-flops. I don't want to put my feet on that disgusting tub. And then we ended up setting up our tents on top of the beds. That's how we slept. Yeah, which is actually really comfortable.
I bet. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Way to improvise.
Yeah.
It's funny. You know what's interesting about this?
No flies.
The AC was broken there too. It broke like midway through the night.
Oh,
yeah, it's horrible.
You know what's great about this is that this is just one state, one city in one of the states.
Yep.
Do you have any other good ones on the way? Because like this, yeah.
Is that where it really got rough?
Or did everything kind of go hunky-dory from there to LA, which I doubt?
It was never hunky-dory.
Yeah.
At all, to be honest. The first night was really interesting. The first night kind of resembled what like the whole trip would be like. So we've been biking for like 50 to 60 miles, and it's already like 9:30, 10:30 p.m. and it's July 4th, so everybody's celebrating, you know. And we're in the middle of St. Augustine, Florida. We don't know where the fuck we are. And we're on a brick road, and Felipe starts to feel really bad. He starts to get a really bad migraine. We just have to stop biking, and he can't bike anymore, right? Mm-hmm. And we don't know where we are. Like, we don't really understand the maps. It's our first day. All we know is that we're pretty far from where we needed to end up. So we kept biking, and we found a 18-wheeler bed on the side of the road. So we were just thinking, okay, let's just set up our tents under the 18-wheeler. Perfect, you know? And then we think, well, what if, like, somebody comes pick it up in the morning? You know, we're there, and it's, like, a truck driver, and he's pissed because we set up our tents. Like, let's not do that. So we did what – this was, I think, my idea. I don't know whose idea it was. But I'm also very sociable with people. I'm not held back socially. Like, I'll say hi to anybody. I'll ask anybody for anything. It's kind of like the superpower that I have, right? So I said, okay, let's go knock on somebody's door and ask them if we can sleep at their house for the night. You know, we'll just tell them our story. We're kind guys. We're not here to harm anybody. We'll tell them this. So that's what we do. We go to a random person's house on July 4th at like 11:30 at night, right? And we knock on somebody's door, and he opens the door, and he looks at me, and he's kind of like eyeballing me down, trying to understand what's going on, who I am. And so then I tell him, hey, sir, you know, nice to meet you. My name is Marco. This is Felipe. You know, we're actually biking across the country, but our buddy here isn't feeling very well, and we didn't want to camp out. We were wondering if, you know, maybe we could possibly stay at your place. We're willing to give you some money or whatever it may be. And so the first thing this guy tells us, like, hey, man, I got a lot of guns.
Be the first thing I told you too.
Yeah. So the first, I think, I sold him. I was selling him essentially what I was doing. I was convincing this man to let 4 random strangers sleep in his house for the night.
It's funny when that's like what you want to hear. He's like, "Oh shit, you got a lot of guns? Guess you'll feel safe while we're sleeping here."
Yeah.
I guess that's what you're saying, right?
Well, I said it like, this guy's crazy. Like, this guy probably doesn't want us sleeping here. You know,
Oh,
like, I got
yeah.
a lot of guns. Like, don't fuck with me, man. I got a lot of guns. You know, like, not here, big boy. You know, not tonight. I got a lot of guns. It's kind of the
That's
vibe,
the
I
vibe you
got.
got? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
More than you'll be safe with me, sir.
I've got a lot of ordnance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will protect you all with my weapons. You know, that's not the vibe I got at all.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way you presented it to me at first. I was thinking like, oh shit, well, wouldn't he just shut the door if he was like, you know?
Did you end up staying there?
No, he said he had a lot of weapons because he needed to assert, you know, kind of the position he set for himself. You
Yeah.
know, like he was capable of harm if we did something harmful to him. That's
Right.
I think
Oh,
why he
okay.
said it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
he kind of set the boundaries essentially for like,
I'm not the guy you want to fuck
Yeah.
with.
yeah, don't fuck with me.
But
I have
also
guns.
not the smartest guy because he should have just closed the door.
Why?
If he doesn't want you to stay there, he's just like, I don't want you to stay here.
Well,
Close the door.
I think he was.
He thought you were about to rob him.
I don't think so.
No?
I think this was just his defense mechanism. You know, like,
Oh,
this is
okay.
kind of how. And I don't know why he said this. To
Dude,
be honest.
Yeah, it's
think
kind of
about
a
it. Harken
crazy thing
back
to
to what we were
say.
talking about earlier, regarding like putting yourself in someone's shoes. So this dude's just chilling in his home,
That's what I'm
doing
saying.
some shit, and these
11:30.
fucking bikers just come in 11:30 at night, asking to stay. The first thing I might say is like, some trickery is afoot.
Exactly.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
shoot you if you don't, if
Exactly.
you do the wrong shit.
Exactly.
This is what happened.
So, we get into the house. He lets us.
okay.
He ends up letting us sleep there, and so we walk in, and it's pretty tense at first because we don't know who the
Yeah.
fuck this guy is. This guy.
He just told you about guns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're like, this is this guy gonna fucking shoot us? Like, who knows what this dude's capable of? So he's like, yeah. We walk in. He's like, yeah, you guys can put your stuff there, and then he's like, I'll sleep on the couch right there. And I don't think I'll sleep tonight. And so, like,
What
how
a
does that-
sacrifice.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, dude, you know, 4 people sleeping in your house 11:30 at night. You know, you have no idea who these people are. I mean, we're young though, so I guess that helped us lower his guard a little bit. So, just really funny how it played out. The whole time we get there, first 15 minutes is pretty tense. We're just trying to loosen the tension between everybody there, between him and his wife, who's also there.
Oh.
After 20 minutes of us speaking, the wife was making us sandwiches. We all, you know, took nice showers. They gave us towels. They gave us beds. He actually gave us his bed.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, so we all slept like kings that night. We had amazing breakfast the next morning. And yeah, that was it. He did sleep on the couch. He did sleep. It wasn't a couch. It was a chair. It was like a sofa chair. And he was there all night, aware.
This is so interesting to me. This random guy offers his home and his bed and his food with the price. Obviously, you paid him, but
We didn't pay him.
That's crazy.
what?
Yeah, we didn't pay him a dime.
This is some shit. So in my, I don't want to divulge too much, but in my research for the AT, this is called trail magic. It's just people helping hikers or bikers for no reason but to help them. Like, he didn't gain anything besides maybe your company.
Yeah.
It's
So
really interesting.
I believe this magic exists, and I try to apply it everywhere in my life now because I experience it on the trip. You
Yep.
know, the AT magic is something that exists because we're humans and because we have feelings and because we care for others. You know,
Yeah.
I really think that's a thing.
No, it's
Yeah.
clear, and the fact that it's been widely reported of people who are doing these types of trips, either hiking or biking or whatever it is you're doing, it's very real, and I just find it fascinating. And so this happened multiple times then across the trip because you said it set the tone.
This was the first day.
Yeah.
of the
And you
trip.
said it set the tone for the trip. So did this happen again? Something similar?
something similar to this.
No, not the guns. I'm just saying, like, staying in someone's house.
Yeah, we actually stayed at a lot of people's homes. There was an application called Warm Showers, and the application was built specifically for what we were doing. Bikers who are biking wherever they are, and you open your house, essentially your house and a place to stay, and you offer people warm showers, in exchange to whatever you want them to do for you. Maybe you need them to wash your dishes, cut your lawn. That's the proposition, right? And so we'd go on warm showers, and we'd just look for people and message people, and it worked. And we found people that would host us all night and fed us.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable. No, I've in all my research, like, this is like what we're gonna be banking on.
And they are getting something in exchange because they're making connections with driven people, which is really valuable.
I think so. You're meeting new people. There was this lady. Her name was Debbie.
Never forget
Texas.
Debbie.
Oh no, never.
All right, cool. We're moving forward. Now we're in Texas. I'm in.
We're in Texas, and none of us will ever forget Debbie. So we messaged Debbie, and she just seemed super excited to have it. She's like, "Can't wait, guys! Like, we have dinner ready for you all. Like, this is gonna be amazing. You guys are gonna have a lot of fun. I have like an awesome place for you to stay." And so we were like, "Dude, if this lady is real, man, we hit it on the fucking money, So we get to Debbie's house, and she comes out. She's like an older, middle-aged woman. She's like 54, I'd say, wearing like shorts and sandals, and kind of like looks like a tank top almost. And we walk into her house, and she's super friendly. She's like, "Hey, everybody, like, what are your names? Where are you guys coming from? Where are you guys going?" And then we just start talking, start telling them what we're doing. And turns out Debbie has done this for like 20 people at least, and she has a whole photo book of cyclists that she's hosted at her house, and she's prepared meals for. And we get there, and she like set up this. She made lasagna for us. We had lasagna, bread rolls. We had freaking pumpkin and apple pie. We had like peanut butter toast.
Damn.
Yeah, really, really funny.
Wonderful woman.
Wonderful woman.
They're
yeah.
called trail angels.
Yeah.
People like that.
She was a truck driver, and so was her husband.
Interesting.
Which is kind of unfortunate because she was such a beautiful person, but automation will actually like
Fuck her life.
Yeah, fuck her and her husband's life. So, the funniest thing she said to us was that she asked if we played any instruments, because she had a guitar, and I play guitar, my buddy Felipe plays guitar, and then we asked her if she played any instruments, and she goes, "Oh yeah, I play an instrument." And she goes, "I play the skin flute." And we were like, it took us a second to like understand
Process.
What's a skin flute? And like we didn't laugh. We were like, "Oh, ha 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 ha." And then after, we were laying in bed, all of us, we were like, "Holy shit!" Like, it's what a skin flute is. We all kind of like had this realization of what the skin flute was, and just completely changed our perspective on Debbie, which we still thought she was awesome. Do you know what a skin flute is?
It's a dick, isn't it?
It's a dick.
No.
Oh, okay.
And you're playing like, and she went like this. She was like, "I play the skin flute." And she went like that. and we all kind of looked at each other.
Was her husband there?
Yeah, her husband was there.
Did he laugh too?
I don't think he was in a room. She just said it.
Because what if he's
openly.
like...
So none of you
What skin
laughed.
flute? We giggled. We didn't understand what
I
it
would-
was.
Like, I could have guessed what it was, but coming from her, I never would have guessed.
I would never guess
Exactly.
that either.
Me neither. I didn't expect that. This lady was super nice. She told us she played the skin flute. So I don't know if she was
It's a little-
hinting at like,
Yeah, I know.
something sexual with all four of us.
Yeah, that's what I just thought. I'm
That's-
like,
maybe,
Debbie.
Debbie.
God damn it,
But she
Debbie.
was awesome.
So when you're going from house to house, did you ever have an experience where like, this is how most horror movies start? I mean, other
Apparently
than the
not.
motel one, but everyone was fairly nice. And
Was there any horror stories besides that inn? Was there anything where you're like, we're genuinely like a little nervous sleeping with one eye open?
how many days did this take?
41.
41. And how many different places did you stay?
Well, like 39. So we were 39
Shit.
different days. 39
So-
different
Wait, so
places.
you didn't just cowboy camp like out in the middle of the woods anytime?
We did motels.
Motels mostly.
We did, I'd say, like 25% tents and camps at state parks.
Yep.
And the
makes
only
sense.
reason that wasn't the most common thing for us was because it was rough on the body, man. You know, like not sleeping in AC after you've biked 100 miles and you're in Arizona. Try sleeping outside in Arizona, you know?
Yeah.
Not
In the middle of the summer.
In the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
Not a good idea. So we went for the motels with bed bugs instead, you know?
Did you guys get some bed bugs on you?
Oh, yeah.
I bet.
Yeah, a lot. It was... I felt like I went through military training, to be honest, and I still feel like that. Like, I don't care about... I'll sleep on the floor. Like, I don't care about bed bugs anymore,
Damn.
you know, which is interesting.
So you get to Arizona, you get to New Mexico, and you're working your way to California. Was there a sense of sadness that the journey was ending, or were you excited? Because it's brutal on you. Probably a
So
mix.
at day like 31, I started to really, I really started to count the days down, you know, because my legs were sore for 41 days, you know, every day they were sore. Like I would touch them and they would hurt really bad. Like you just did the most intense workout of your life. And it makes sense scientifically.
Absolutely.
You know, I didn't give it any time to rest.
No, you didn't take any zeros? Were days where you didn't do any biking?
No, we didn't. I don't
wow,
think so.
that's why.
Yeah.
Damn.
Continue.
So, sorry, what was the question that you
Oh yeah,
asked me?
so near the end of the trip,
You're counting down your days.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we're counting down our days, because you know, it is fun. It was fun, but a lot of it was no joke. You know, it was fun because you know I got to bike my. So when we got to Arizona, we actually switched our schedule over and we started biking from midnight. We'd go to sleep from like 7 or we actually go to sleep from like 3 to 11:30, and then we wake up at midnight and bike from 12:30 a.m. to 8 in the morning. We did that Arizona on, Texas on, West Texas
to dodge
on.
the heat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because if not, I
that
think
makes
we
sense.
would have died.
Yeah.
Just honestly,
That makes
something
sense.
bad would have happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
So physically, we were tired. You know, mentally, like we were having a good time, but physically, we could really feel the pain, and it wasn't easy. So we really started counting down the days. One of our friends, Nick, he didn't think he was gonna make it. We
like
believed in him.
alive, or like he was gonna quit.
He was gonna quit. Yeah. I mean, we love Nick, all of us, but it was just so funny because Nick, I think day 30 to 41, we would be biking at like 2-3 in the morning, and it'd be me, Glenn Felipe up front, and then we'd turn around, and then Nick would just be in the distance, and Nick would be falling asleep on his bicycle. And we turn around and we could tell because all of a sudden you could just see him go off course and like correct himself, and he'd like go off course and correct himself. And he's a trooper, man.
How dangerous though to be like. Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, the worst
There's
that
the
happens,
road.
you fall. You know.
I mean, the worst that happens is a car's going by.
Oh no, we didn't. There were no cars.
No cars.
No, we took some really like isolated roads, to be
okay.
honest. Yeah, because we actually used Google Maps for like the half. So from Texas on, we used Google Maps, and they have bike trails for Google Maps.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was great for us.
Oh, how cool. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, overall, it was a transformative experience. I saw a lot of beautiful things. I experienced a lot of beautiful things. By beauty, I mean like we climbed a 7,000-foot mountain, and it was like 5 in the morning, and I was going down the mountain at 5 in the morning with no handlebars. We spent the whole morning climbing the mountain, right? So then we spent like 10 minutes, just a huge decline. And as we were going down, this next to us, there was just open terrain, beautiful open terrain, and we were on a mountain. The sun started to rise, right? This like beautiful orange, red, pink sunrise.
Wow.
And then we were all our hands were open like this, no hands, just gliding down the mountain. I was playing, what song was I playing? It wasn't called Walking on a Dream. I was playing We Are the People by, I forget the name of the artist. And I just played it over and over and over and over again because it's such a beautiful song. I don't know if you guys know it. Empire of the Sun, We Are the People. Have you guys heard that song? Oh my gosh, amazing song. And I just play that over and over again. I have that feeling inside of me, and it'll live for me with ever. Just like seeing the sand dunes was also really beautiful. So yeah, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from the experience. Definitely defined me. There were some other parts to it that I think really pushed me. But overall, I think what it did for me is that it taught me it taught me that there is such a thing as the disconnect between the mind and the body. And the mind will tell you something that maybe isn't true about yourself, at least physically, you know? Like my mind would tell me I was tired, but I could go more. I could go longer. And so I actually use that in everything I do now. You know, when I'm working on a computer science problem, my mind gets tired. I see it as a threshold. Like the whole trip for me was I learned how to break through thresholds, mental thresholds. And it's you see it constantly, right? And I see it. Maybe you're doing a physical exercise. Maybe you're in the gym. You can experience the threshold with the weight. In my case, it was the bicycle. You know, like I was physically tired. I couldn't bike anymore. My mind was telling me I'm tired, but I kept going through it, right? And that just happened. So I see it as like threshold in my mind. I break through it. New threshold is set, right? Mm-hmm. And so what I did for myself is how many times can I break through that, right? Like to what really is my upper bound for mental threshold. And now I use that in everything I do, whether it's computer science, teaching myself how to program. Like, is this problem really that hard for me, or maybe is this just my mental threshold? Maybe I can go deeper, you know. Maybe I can think deeper about this problem, and maybe I'm just hitting a threshold, and then I have this ability to like observe that and be cognizant of this. And I just use it a lot.
There's nothing like that. I mean, that's a meta skill, like you just said, that applies to everything. And it's inspiring because it's not conventional, like we talked about earlier in the podcast. It's not the thing that you would be told to do by any teacher or by any coach.
I actually have a contrarian thing to say about that, because I have a lot of experience with thresholds, and I pushed my body really far about 1.5 years ago. And I was getting a lot of anxiety. And I thought to myself, I can use this in the gym, because I was getting these rushes of anxiety, but also painlessness. And I would squat in this painless state, and I would shoulder press in this like painless state with a rush of anxiety. Mm-hmm. And still to this day, the right side of my body, mostly in the hip area, but then also in the right shoulder. And I was shoulder pressing like 85, 90 pounds, which is in each arm, which is a lot. And, you know, I've definitely done what could be permanent damage. Mm-hmm. So what do you say to that in terms of thresholds?
So I think there's a sense of self-awareness that needs to be present when you're considering the threshold you're about to cross, right? Mm-hmm. And the self-awareness is this actually good for me, and is this safe for me, right? And so in your case, and I can see myself in that situation, because I've definitely done things in the weight room that I shouldn't have done.
But we still need to fight the voice telling you to be weak and to give up. Mm-hmm. and it's so hard to pinpoint. Do I keep going?
Right. So at what point is it healthy
Yeah.
to fight the voice? Is that the question?
At what? Yeah.
It's weird because
The same question is, at what point is it unhealthy to fight the voice?
I think the good thing about us is that I think you and me and you and anyone in these circumstances has an intuition about the difference between soreness and damage on average.
Yeah.
Most of the time, when you're in that painless state,
You don't.
no, that's the danger of a lot of those drugs like PCP, because you're gonna be fucking yourself up and you don't know it. This
Yeah.
is the whole thing about people who can't feel pain. They're just gonna die at some point because they don't know what damage they're doing.
Yeah.
So what you were describing, and I've experienced it too. I was raised to be an athlete as well, and there's a threshold idea that there's a soreness and a pain that's distinctly different from your knee or your hip or your shoulder being damaged, right? But you're
Yeah.
also right that there's overuse injuries where, like, that's why I said when you said you didn't take 0 days, like, I was like, I don't know if that was a good idea. You could have gotten an overuse injury, but you didn't.
Yeah.
And I think you lucked out. And I think there is a balance, and it depends on the person. And the risk seems worth it in some cases, depending on what you're doing. Because I think you can listen to
Yeah.
your body and know. If you weren't in that painless state, you may have noticed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I for sure would have noticed. But I had a lot of experience with beforehand in my life when I was younger. I had a lot of experience with satiating the voice that said give up. And I was trying to reprogram my mind to never satiate that voice. And so when I started getting anxiety and this weird state where I could sort of push through pain or not even realize that it was there at all, and not even distinguish whether it was good or bad. That wasn't even on my radar, was to satiate. The voice wasn't there at all at that point, which I think is a mental health issue at that point. But I don't know.
I think,
and to some extent that's curated by a lot of American culture.
yeah.
But anyway, what were you gonna say?
I think, yeah, good point. Like, there's definitely a lot of social conditioning that strives us to say, don't be a P word, don't be a
You can
little
say
girl.
pussy. You don't have to.
Don't be a pussy,
Yeah.
man through it. And it's just like the macho man social conditioning that's put onto us.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at is,
But there is something there.
yeah,
There's a baby in the bathwater there that we're trying to salvage, right? Because there is something to the human being pushing through conditions.
For sure.
For growth.
My thing is, how do you make that judgment of,
I feel like you're gambling. I feel like you can't know sometimes.
so then
Yeah.
so then you just have to keep pushing.
I think we should differentiate between survival situations and like what he's describing. Because
we're very modern day humans, very not in touch with survival situations.
Mhm.
In a survival situation, who cares if your leg's broken?
yeah,
But in the long term, I want to continue to do athletic things in my life. I should do my job, try to not get my
Yeah.
leg broken.
It's like, yeah.
I agree. It's hard to say, though. I don't know. I don't think you can draw a distinct line and know.
I think the main idea is be observant of the voice.
Yeah.
And see if the voice is really representative of your limitations, is kind of what I'm getting at, and I say it more so intellectually than physically, to be honest, because I think there's a lot of drawbacks to it physically, but I consider it like
I can't think of any mentally, other than like lack of sleep.
What do you mean mentally? Like that I'm referring to, not
Draw- no,
physically?
drawbacks.
The voice that wants you to go on YouTube instead of keep studying or.
Well, I
whatever.
consider the voice as like, in my personal life, when I'm working on an algorithm for class, right? And I just can't get it, you know? I spent hours
Yeah.
trying to figure out this freaking algorithm, and my brain is like, just doesn't want to get.
That's what it feels like.
You know, there's a certain level of depth that this problem requires my brain to be at, you know? And I have to get it to that state. And that's
Yeah.
that's the mental barrier I refer to, right? Is that's the threshold. Is seeing that for me to solve this problem, I must break through that threshold. And I do, you know? And a lot of it is also in like, I don't know, just self-analysis in regards to like the stories we tell ourselves more than anything else. I relate it similar to the threshold. You know, I think stories can be thresholds that we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
Untrue stories, you know. I think it's yeah, they're related. But I don't know where I'm going now.
Although,
I mean, physical and mental are different.
yeah, that's what
They
we're
are.
trying to get at. Yeah,
But
and
to,
you were saying
to
you
be
can't think about-
contrarian, is there something? I mean, I guess lack of sleep. You know, eventually that's going to bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
But there maybe emotional health, or
Yeah, I think it would
I'm
be
trying
external
think.
to you. So, like, if the effort it required to break through this threshold is such that you have to start ignoring important people in your life, and you have to start ignoring your hygiene, you have to start ignoring, but for extended
But then
periods
you're
of time. But in the
redefining-
end, maybe it is worth it. What if you're
Yeah.
about to find the vaccination for certain diseases? It's like,
Yeah.
worth it.
Like, important people in my life aren't important anymore
Because this goal is
because
so.
of the goal. Yeah.
I don't know.
the
It's
nature of
hard.
the
This
goal.
is just the nature of sacrifice.
Yeah.
When it comes
Yeah.
to mentality, because if physically it's your body you're sacrificing.
Yeah.
Mentally,
Physically,
it's
it's
probably
pretty
people
cut and
around you,
dry.
people you're sacrificing in your life. That'd be, I think, probably the biggest price you're paying.
Yeah.
Or career paths, you know? Like people not choosing a STEM field because they think they're not smart enough or they're not good at mathematics.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
I think that's a mental threshold
For sure.
that people can get through.
Yeah.
That's something I consider that a good example.
That's a great example, actually.
Yeah. But how many people do this in life? And it relates to the individualism versus collectivism thing, you know? Like there's a threshold in your mind telling you that you can't, whatever it may be, that you can't, you know, listen to yourself and major in what you want to major in, which is kind of a big thing for a lot of people.
No, I know
Or-
that I am.
Yeah.
I know the feeling. I am the person I'm the droid you're referring to.
I used to be it too.
Yeah.
Or the person, I mean, there's so many instances, you know? So a lot of it is like, and it's just, I think they're very related because having that conversation with yourself is very uncomfortable, right? And breaking through the physical and mental threshold is also very uncomfortable. So there has to be something that happens there. And I think they're related to each other.
Yeah.
This state of uncomfort, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Revelations.
Yeah.
It is 10:45
Yeah.
minutes.
Well, this has been great.
Yeah, this has been
Oh,
great.
It never ends. It could never end.
Yeah,
which
I
is the
think
unpleasant part.
So-
we passed our
this is-
podcast threshold.
You know, this is the longest one I think we've ever done.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hell
Very
yeah.
long.
And it's filled with good caveats.
You know, this is
Yeah.
good shit. This was the
This
best
is
one we've
great.
done so far.
All
I
right.
think.
So we're gonna say goodbye
To all three
to
of
the
you.
audience.
See you guys.
Adios.